copy of that to anyone? Like if I ask
No,
you,
we do not.
so you don't
No,
provide
we
a
do not,
copy.
sir. That's propriety of the EEOC. You were informed. It was explained to you, and there's a reason I go to that lengthy explanation, precisely for the reason that you're telling me now. Oh, you didn't tell me. I didn't know. No, we did tell you. And if you didn't know what to do with the position statement, you should have sent me an email or called me and said, what am I supposed to do with this? And I would have told you again. But
From
you didn't do that.
from my perspective, I sent you an email on the 22nd of December. I never got a response back to it,
Okay.
and
What's your, give me, hold on. Let me look up the email, see what I have from you. Let's see if I missed the email. Universal. Universal. Bear with me. I'm waiting for the system to look. Okay, this is something that was provided by the employer. They're not going to respond to that. Not while they're under investigation, and we can't force them to respond to that either.
but you do see that I
This,
sent you an
this,
email.
this doesn't ask me for anything. All you did was forward it.
You,
You didn't ask for a response. You didn't ask me to do anything with it. That's in your file. You did not ask me to respond to that, and that doesn't require a response from me. That's information that you're giving to us.
all right. Let me. Can I ask you a question? Then? All right.
Sure.
Is there a way to meet in with a supervisor in your office?
I can tell him you want to meet with them, but that's not going to change the termination of the file, sir. You have
I'm
not
not.
provided evidence that Nash County is not hiring people with disabilities.
I understand what you're saying, and what I'm saying to you is this: I would like to speak to a supervisor with reference to because my whole thing is this: is that if I apply for a position, right? Let's walk through this. I apply for a position, and I ask when I apply for the position, when's the last time you hired ever a disabled person for that position? And your answer is no, we haven't ever hired a disabled person for that position. That to me seems like it's proof within itself that there's a discriminatory hiring practice. And when I ask you, well, do you have open and competitive hiring? And you say, no, we do not. Then that also for me is an indication, hey, look, you just hiring your friends or whatever it is. So that's what I'm saying is that, I mean, when those questions are posed and asked, and I believe that was part of the initial charge, is when I asked those questions, their response was, no, we're not going to answer those questions. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. So then if you want additional proof on top of that, that's proof within itself. Because if I ask you when I
No,
applied,
not necessarily, because when we look at your complaint, we look to see why they didn't hire you. Was it because of your disability? No, it was not. Well, why didn't you hire him? Because he didn't complete the job applications and because he was not the best qualified for the position. Those are legitimate, non-discriminatory reasons for not hiring you that had nothing to do with your disability.
all right, so you're saying that they actually provided proof that the application was incomplete, quote unquote.
Yes, they did. And if that information was provided as a non-confidential exhibit, that would have been released to you.
So why would it be submitted as a confidential exhibit?
Because they have the right to submit. They have the right to submit evidence that is confidential and that is non-confidential. Whatever is non-confidential is released to you. Whatever is confidential is not.
Okay. So again, is there any way to make an appointment to speak with some sort of supervisor with reference to?
I cannot make the appointment for you. I can let them know and they reach out to you.
Okay, that's fine because from my perspective is that it seems like the EEOC tends to go after private employers for discriminatory hiring practice, but they don't go over local government. Don't go after local government entities with reference to trying to go ahead and stop them from doing non-open and competitive hiring practices. That's from my perspective. I mean, and the thing is when I ask the employer, as in this situation, as in with Nash County, when I ask the employer in this situation, say, look, hey, look, do you have open and competitive hiring? No, we don't. When's the last time you hired a disabled person for the position? Never. So you never hired someone for that position that's disabled, ever. And you don't have open and competitive hiring. So that to me in itself is sufficiency to say, hey, look, you're engaged in discriminatory practice. And then when I see the EEOC always chasing after private employers, but they don't chase after these government entities that do the same thing, I got a problem. So that's what I want to talk to a supervisor about. I say, look, I got a problem with the way you guys handle your business. It's like, and you're telling me that wasn't sufficiency. There was no sufficiency in the initial charge, including those questions that were posed to the employer. So you're saying that wasn't sufficient? It was insufficient to go ahead and just make a statement like that. Whereas the thing speaks for itself. I mean, you never really hired. You never hired a disabled person for the position, ever. So it's like, and that to me is sufficiency to sustain a charge. But then you say no, that's not, and whatever. I mean, so
who told you that they don't hire disabled people for the position?
you can go ahead and look like I did when I went over there, and I said, where are? Can you show me and let me know how many disabled people are actually on staff? And
That was not my question, sir. My question was, who told you that they would not hire a disabled person for the position?
when I asked the question and they said they haven't hired
Who did
one.
you ask the question
To the HR people, Kimberly, whatever her name was. Kimberly. When I went over there.
All right. Okay. Now, what proof do you have that that's the answer she gave you?
Hmm? What proof did I have? Because
proof
it's in the email
do you
form.
have that is the answer she gave you?
When I responded to her and had an email chain and I provided you guys a proof of it, wherein that was posed, that question was posed, and that's so there was an email chain that was included in the charge.
Okay, the email chain, no. The email, only thing I have from you is December 22nd. Your open competitive inquiry combo, which you didn't get an answer to. Okay?
Right.
There's nothing in here that shows that she answered your question of we don't hire disabled people for that position. A blank document with your questions unanswered is not proof of anything. So what happened with what you're telling me is that you said this and that somebody that you think her name is Kimberly said it to you.
It's Kimberly
but you
Shields.
have no proof of that.
It's Kimberly Shields. What are you talking about? I have Kimberly Shields, okay. And then when I was communicating with her, all right. Thanks for dropping by your interest. Let me see. I have emails that were directed to her.
Okay, but you didn't give us those emails. Why didn't you give us those emails?
I did try to give you those emails. What are you talking about? I believe I was
How?
part
What
of.
do you mean? When did you give us the emails? Did you put them in your file in the folder? Because I only have one email from you, and that email doesn't contain anything from Kimberly Shields. So when did you give them to me?
I believe that I had put it in part as part of the charge.
that
Right.
does not have emails attached to it. It's just a document signed by you. And what it says is, I was an income maintenance caseworker with food stamps and Medicaid, and I was a child protective services worker for the Wake and Durham counties. I have applied multiple times in Nash County for adult Medicaid income caseworker positions 2 and 3. I've only received denial letters. I have not been interviewed, much less hired. The job applications asked if I have a disability, and I disclosed I did have a disability. So, sir, whatever you're telling me right now is not even on the face of your charge.
So
I
you,
will pass the message on to the supervisor that you want to talk to him, but I believe this conversation is over.
I understand what you're saying, and the thing is that, like I said, when I was communicating with Kimberly Shields from Nash County HR. Okay, when I was communicating with her, those questions were posed as like, what open and competitive hiring practice do you have? And like you say, it's like they chose not to answer, but at the same time, when the fact remains that you haven't ever hired a disabled person for the job. I mean that's just you know.
Mr. Olivaria, I am sorry they didn't hire you. But what you're not understanding is that whatever is not on the face of your charge, we are not going to investigate. We investigate the allegations of your charge. What you are talking to me about now is not on your charge. So you can't come now after the fact and throw something out there and say, oh, you didn't investigate this. No, you're right, we didn't. Why? Because it's not on the face of your charge. And you have no proof of the conversation with Kimberly.
There is proof now on your email.
I want to help you. I
Yeah.
want to help you. It's not that I don't.
There's-
But without evidence, I can't.
Well, there's proof on your email, so whatever that I just sent it to you.
A proof on the email that you never gave us. And proof of something that you didn't raise in your charge. That's not how this works, Mr. Lamaria. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing. Is that again when I mean you may rebut. Let me make sure I send you a copy of the email that I sent to you in December. It's like I never got a response back.
I don't need a copy of that. I already have it. I just read it to you. And I told you it doesn't have anything from Kimberly Shields. And it's a blank questionnaire that proves nothing.
So and
You did not raise on the face of your charge that they told you that they never hired a disabled person for the position. That is not what your charge is about.
well, here's the thing. Like,
So you're trying to make it that way. That's a whole separate issue, which I'm not going to address
okay.
because it's not on the face of your charge.
Like I said, okay. One of the things, like I said, when I did the charge initially, is that again, the charge was initially made after I went to Nash County EEOC and spoke with Kimberly Shields, and I asked point blank, well, when's the last time you had a person in a wheelchair apply and or be employed in this position? And they said none. And they said they were like, oh yeah, we'll help you. We'll go ahead and try to help you get a position, whatever. And it went to naught. So my whole thing is with reference to my overall opinion of the way this process transpired. I feel like no. I feel like I tried to communicate with you and then I never received a response back. I think it was December, way back when. And I never received a response back until today. And now you're saying, well, now you're way past the deadline of anything. And it's like, well, had you actually responded, and that's where I don't agree with you on what you're saying. Had I actually received a response instead of something about like I'm sort of on vacation during that time, whatever it was, automatic reply, December 2020.
Yeah, it's an automatic reply because we do have the ability to take leave. And when we're on leave, we put a note on our responses so that people know that they're reaching out to us when we're not in the office.
Right.
You're welcome. Because that's a courtesy.
Right. And here's the thing. Well, then when you're not on leave and you come back, Don't you respond back to those messages? Which I never receive a response back.
What, Mr. Olivaria? Your email is an attachment with no message. You forward to me a blank attachment with no message. I received it and I put it in the file. It did not require a response.
So you never thought maybe...
If you wanted a response, you should have wrote in the email, I am attaching this document for whatever purpose. Please let me know when you receive it so we can discuss. You didn't do that.
Well, here's the
You didn't
thing.
even call me after that. You did not call me after that to follow up on your email. So don't come now trying to use this as an excuse for your failure to provide a rebuttal and evidence to support your charge.
Okay, like I said, then look, I'm not willing to go ahead and just have a round and round argument with you. My whole thing, from my perspective, is this: I try to communicate with you. That document that you received is actually an inquiry that was sent to the hiring authority, Kimberly Shields, and the inquiry was, hey, do you have a open and competitive hiring practice? No. The other inquiry was, when's the last time you actually hired someone that's disabled for the position? So if you just put it away in some sort of file without having to call me back, which if I send you a message to try to get a hold of you, and then you just like file something without trying to have a conversation, then is that my fault? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, that's just, I try to go ahead and engage.
It is your problem. You know why? Because nowhere in that email did you say, Ms. Lopez, I would like to talk to you. Nowhere in that email does it say, Ms. Lopez, I would like to talk to you about this form. Nowhere in your email is blank.
Well, the other thing is this. In addition to...
It is blank. I don't have a crystal ball to know that on a blank email, I'm supposed to contact you.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna go pull up my phone records, and I'm gonna look at when I try to call you. Okay, because not only do I email, I usually try to call. So usually an email is sent after a phone call. So I'm gonna pull up my phone.
Save that, Mr. Olivaria. Save that for the supervisor. I'm done. I've informed you that we're going to issue notice.
I understand that.
You have 90 days from receipt to file a lawsuit in federal court. If you do not file a lawsuit by the 90th day, the chance to file will be lost. The portal file is open to you right now for you to download your documents. After the 10th day, the file that we issue the notice of rights to you, the portal file will close and you will no longer have access to you. I am no longer going to continue to talk to you because we're going in circles and getting nowhere.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
So, thank you for returning my call and have a good day.
Can I ask you one question?
No more questions. We're done. No more questions.
So
you have a good day.
Not about your office hours. All right.
Goodbye.
All right. Take care of yourself. That was a phone call with the EEOC lady, Rebecca Lopez. Very harsh, very dogmatic, I would think. I mean, she's just crazy. I've never seen such a thing. It's like this woman, all of a sudden now she's following up on something, emails and phone calls that I try to make repeatedly. It's crazy. Anyway, take care.